The air was thick with tension at the military base. The morning sun glared down on the training grounds where young recruits struggled through their drills, sweat pouring down their faces. Orders barked through the air like thunder, and boots struck the dirt with rhythmic force. Mid the clamor of voices and steel, a single figure stood out. She was quiet, calm, and motionless, sitting near the weapon racks where rifles of all kinds gleamed in the light. She wasn't dressed like the fresh recruit scrambling in the dirt. Her fatigues were worn in, her boots scuffed but polished, and strapped beside her was something no ordinary soldier casually kept within arm's reach: a Barrett M82, the .50 caliber rifle that many in the military simply called the Beast. Sat with it as if it were nothing more than an extension of herself. Most who passed by gave her curious glances, whispering, wondering who she was. Some mistook her for a logistics officer. Others thought she was a trainer waiting for her squad, but no one dared approach. Not yet. That morning, the base's commanding general made his inspection rounds. He was a tall, seasoned man, known for his unforgiving standards and sharp eye. Led soldiers into combat across deserts, mountains, and cities. Could spot weakness in a heartbeat and discipline a man into shape with just a few words. As he walked past the formation, barking critiques and praises where they were due. His stride was steady, his presence commanding, but then, as he turned a corner and walked past the weapon racks, his eyes fell on her. A woman, sitting calmly, her hand resting on the grip of a Barrett .50. She didn't flinch when their eyes met. She didn't stand or salute, she just looked back at him, cool and collected, like she had nothing to prove. The general's brow furrowed. He slowed his stride. His men fell silent, sensing the shift in his energy. He wasn't a man easily distracted, but something about her presence demanded attention. His gaze dropped to the patch on her uniform, the one sewn just above her chest. It was a badge. A small piece of metal and cloth, but one that carried a weight few could ever comprehend. His eyes froze as he read it: 3,200 meters. Confirmed sniper record. The silence that followed was heavy. The recruits nearby exchanged glances, some confused, others wide-eyed with recognition. They knew what that number meant. 3,200 meters wasn't just a shot, it was nearly 2 miles. Hitting a target at that distance wasn't just skill. It was mastery. Even among elite snipers, such a record was the stuff of legend. It meant precision beyond comprehension, steadiness under pressure that defied belief, and an understanding of wind, terrain, and ballistics at a level that only the best of the best could ever hope to achieve. The general's eyes shifted back to hers, and for the first time in years, the soldiers watching could swear they saw him hesitate. This wasn't some ordinary sniper badge. This wasn't decoration for time served. This was history, worn proudly by someone who had achieved the impossible. "Sergeant," he finally said, his voice lower now, steady but tinged with curiosity. "That your rifle?" She nodded once, her expression unreadable. "You're the one they talk about," he muttered, almost to himself. The shot across the valley. A murmur rippled through the recruits. It was truth or rumors they'd heard whispered late at night in the barracks. Stories of a sniper who had saved an entire unit from ambush with a single impossible shot. Some had dismissed it as myth, the kind of story veterans passed down to inspire awe. But here she was, flesh and blood, sitting right before them with the badge that proved it. The general straightened himself, his usual tone of authority returning, but not quite masking the respect in his eyes. "I've commanded thousands of soldiers," he said, his voice carrying over the courtyard. "But very few earn something like that. Do these recruits even know who's sitting among them?" The young men and women stood straighter, their eyes darting between her and the general. She said nothing, but her silence spoke louder than any speech. She didn't need to boast. Her record was her voice. The general turned back to his soldiers. "You want to know what discipline looks like? What focus looks like? It's not in how loud you shout or how fast you run. It's in the calm, the patience, the precision." He gestured toward her. "That badge isn't just for a shot. It's for every hour of training, every failure turned lesson." every breath controlled under fire. His words hung heavy in the air. The recruits stared at her with newfound reverence, some in awe, others inspired. She finally rose, lifting the Barrett. With ease despite its massive weight, slinging it over her shoulder, she gave the general a single nod of acknowledgement before walking toward the firing range. No one dared speak until the echo of her boots faded into the distance. The general watched her go, then looked back at his troops. "Remember this day," he said firmly. "You trained in the presence of someone who has already carved her name into history. If you want to serve your country, if you want to protect the soldier next to you, then you'll carry that same calm into battle. That's what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary." The recruits saluted in unison, their eyes sharper, their minds filled with the image of the lone sniper who needed no words to command respect. And as the general turned to continue his inspection, one truth lingered in his thoughts. He had walked past countless soldiers in his career, but only once had he frozen in his tracks at the sight of a single badge.